Hello and welcome to the Bhagavatam. We've been told on the spiritual path that desire is a bad thing. But is it really? Can we get anywhere, do anything, or have anything if we do not have desire? Our body desires food, sex, sleep, and safety. These are basic human needs. Our mind takes it further and it desires pleasure. It wants us to enjoy our senses and it makes us chase after sensory enjoyment. So that is why Buddha said that desire is the root cause of suffering. He was referring to this very human part of us. But somehow there is some truth to that, but I think it's not complete. Desire causes us certainly to chase after the things of the world. It causes us to want, to need, to hanker, to envy. And all of that causes us suffering. There's no doubt about that. We spend all our lives trying to have the things that other people have, the things that we see on TV, the things that we never thought we needed, but now they've told us that we need them. And so now we want it. And we're all guilty of this. We're all victims of this thing of desire. It's not just for things. It's also for respect. It's the desire for prestige. It's the desire to be seen as important, as special, as significant. It's a desire to have not just things, but also people. People who love you, people who care for you, people who are there for you. All of that. And then if you go one step further and you say, well, I recognize that all my suffering arises from desire, and therefore I shall desire nothing. I will desire nirvana or moksha or liberation or salvation. But that too is desire. If you want eternal life, if you want to never get old, to never get sick, to never die, that too is desire. And it is selfish. I want that for me. I'm not even saying I want that for everyone. I want it for me. Or I want it for the people of my religion, or my community, or my family. That's still selfish. You're only thinking about, not only are you thinking about yourself, but you're also thinking about, how do I solve a problem? And if God is my way to solve the problem, well, I'll accept God. Great idea here. You're suffering, and now that you want to get out of the mess, you think, maybe if I merge into the light, maybe if I escape to heaven. But that's also desire. And if your ambitions aren't that lofty and all you want is peace and harmony and love, to love and be loved, right? That too is desire. So we must conclude that desire is natural. The desire for long-lasting love, peace, happiness, and even the desire to get free of old age, disease, death, all comes from a deep truth, the truth of who we are. We are spiritual beings in a perishable human body. This environment, not only this body, mind, organism, but also the world we live in, is unnatural for us. It cannot give us what we actually want, need, and desire. And why do I say that? Because you'll see, we're all chasing, but never getting. We're chasing happiness, but never quite getting it. We're chasing love, but never quite getting it. We get it partially, we get it a little bit, we get it somewhat, but it's never quite what our heart truly longs for. And then we think we'll find it in another thing, in another person, in another place, in another something, or another body, another life. And it never happens. So what then is the solution? Let's find out the solution. Because to find the solution is to go beyond the known into the unknown, beyond the material to the spiritual, beyond the mind to the core of life itself. That which makes us alive is consciousness, or the soul. And that soul we know very little about. That soul is Sat Chit Ananda. It is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. It is part of God. And by knowing the soul, we know something about God. We can feel it when our mind is quiet. The soul is then present. We're able to experience it. And we'll notice that whenever we go into that inner space, there is peace. It's consistently so. There is love, consistently. There is compassion, naturally. And there is joy for no reason at all. This is the soul's nature. Just as water is wet and fire is hot, the soul is always blissful and loving. This is what we've been looking for. And so the question is, if I am the soul, then what does my soul desire? What do I, the real me, what does that desire? It desires, number one, to awaken. Meaning it desires for you to call upon it, to reach out to it. It means that it wants us to connect with it. How do we do that? By quieting the mind. How do we do that? Through meditation. To connect with other souls, that's the other thing it wants. But to do that in a soulful way. Not in an egoic way, not in a way of trying to control others or impress others, and all that is egoic. But through humility, through compassion, through freedom from envy and pride. Then we can truly connect from one soul to another. Otherwise, it's all this mental garbage in the way. And finally, it wants to connect with its source, that which it is part of, to understand and connect with and have a loving relationship with God. So let's find out a little more about all that. This is a very special month. It's called the month of Kartik. Let me put that on the screen so you see the word Kartik. And it began October 17th and goes on till November 15th of this year. The dates change every year according to the Vedic lunar calendar. The question is, why is this month so important? For one thing, it is known as Radha's month. And we've been talking about Radha in previous episodes, so I hope that you'll go back and you'll check some of those. We've talked extensively, so I won't get into here. But Radha is the feminine aspect of Krishna. She is the divine, she is God, but the feminine aspect of God. Krishna is the masculine aspect of God. Radha is the feminine. Kartik is considered the month of Srimati Radha Rani, Queen Radha, the feminine counterpart and eternal consort of Krishna. And we, as devotees of Krishna and Radha, want to please Radha because she is the doorway, the key, to Krishna. And to please her through devotion is what we desire the most. Why? Because Krishna desires her the most, and her pleasure is all he desires. And so one who can please her very easily pleases Krishna. And one who pleases them both, their life is made. Why? What is the importance of pleasing them? You see, we all want to please ourselves. We want to please our senses. We want to enjoy ourselves. Or at the best, we want to enjoy someone we love. But one who loves God wants to please God. This is called devotion. Devotion is not, I want to go out and please everyone. Devotion is not that I want to go out and be interested in everything. Devotion is focused. Devotion is focused on the object of your love. And you got to ask yourself, what is the greatest love of all? And if that greatest love of all is God, then how do I fall in love with God? These are the questions we need to ask. And if loving God is facilitated by these processes, then let me learn more about them. The second thing that is very important about this month is that it's a spiritual multiplier. Devotional activities performed during this month of Kartik are believed to yield multiplied results. similar to, a maximizing effect. So any spiritual activity you do during this month becomes multiplied, in other words. If you chant the names of God, if you perform devotional acts in service to God, all of that gets multiplied. So this is an opportune time to deepen one's practice, to practice your spiritual practice, to do it even more. This is also the month of various leelas or pastimes of Krishna. And we're going to talk about those today. The first of them, which happened at the beginning of this month, is the Rasa Leela. And for those of you who've been here, you would have heard about the Rasa Leela. And this is the dance of Radha and Krishna with all the gopis. It's the most sacred dance. It is the most sacred event. Very, very little understood by people. And yet the most joyous. It shows you that God is not just some fierce character who punishes people and does, those kind of things. But he is a loving God, a dancing God, a celebratory God. It shows you that God is exactly what we've been looking for. This is also the month of Damodar Leela. And Damodar Leela is about the time when Krishna was chased by his mother, Yashoda, because he had stolen butter. We're going to talk all about that today. We've discussed it earlier, but today we're going into a whole different aspect of it. And this is also the month of lifting of Govardhan Hill. Krishna lifted the Govardhan Hill on his little pinky finger. When Indra flooded his town of Vrindavan, Krishna for 7 days and 7 nights held up the Govardhan Hill. He was 7 years old at the time. And this hill is huge. It takes us, it's about 14 kilometers around when you go and walk around it. And people do to this day. Now, during this month, a lot of wonderful celebrations take place. And these festivals are packed with all kinds of wonderful things. This is the month of Diwali also. I forgot to mention that. And this is in the temples in Vrindavan and other places all around the world. You will see people offering candles, ghee lamps to Krishna. You'll see hundreds of people there offering wonderful lamps like this. Of course, in the month of Diwali, the same thing is done in each person's house. But this is very special. Through the entire month, you'll see people doing this. In sacred texts like the Skanda Purana, it is emphasized the immense spiritual benefits by even simple acts of devotion during this month of Kartik, such as offering lamps to Krishna. All right, so who is this Krishna? Who are we talking about? If any of you are new, I'd like to just kind of give you a little glimpse, give you a little backstory, so that you don't find yourself completely lost as we're going through this. Krishna, you'll see him in his most beautiful forms. Krishna is the abode of all beauty. He is the source of all beauty. He is the source of all knowledge. He is the source of all love. He is the source of everything, of all creation. And that very Krishna appeared in this world 5,000 years ago. Now here you see him loving not only his friends, but also the cows. And you say, well, why does he love cows? Well, he loves cows. Like, why do you love dogs? Why do you love cats? Right? And if somebody did something to your dog or your cat, how would you feel about that? The same way Krishna does not like it when people kill his cows. All of the cows in this world are his cows, and they are not to be killed. Not when they're old, not when they're young, not at any time. God loves cows. Take it or leave it. This is not a matter of discussion. This is a matter of fact. First you understand Krishna, and then you understand that this is his special favorite. So we go with that. And here he is seen again with the cows. And in fact, with all the creatures, you'll see there peacocks and deer, all animals. And what we're going to be talking about specifically are his childhood pastimes, Bal Leela. And that's him as a child. And would you or would you not fall in love with this beautiful child? All the people of his village, Vrindavan, were in love with him. This is his mother Yashoda with Krishna. You can see the beautiful pastimes they have. Now, they were a dairy community, and so here you see Yashoda making butter out of milk. This is how they did it. They churned the milk until it became butter. This process is still done till today. Bilona ghee, you can get it even today. So I'm bringing all this in because this is the backdrop of the story. And in this story, you'll find Krishna is quite mischievous. The Supreme Lord, the Supreme Creator of everything, is quite playful. He's quite fun-loving. He enjoys life, and he wants us to enjoy with him. It's not that he's wanting us to go and be in heaven and, wear some white clothes and play harps. And no. He wants to play with us. He wants to have fun with us. He wants to dance with us. He wants to enjoy with us. He wants us to have an eternal life of enjoyment with him. But the price for that, the ticket for that, is unconditional love. And we don't know how to do that. And so that's what we've got to learn. We've got to learn how to love him for who he is, not because he's God, not because of what he'll give us, not for any reason other than pure love. If you look at the people here in Vrindavan, the pictures that I'm showing you, it is all about love. They love him for who he is. And then, of course, he does so many fun things. So what's not to love? Here he is stealing the butter that the gopis, the cowherd women, had churned and hidden from him. But he has found out where it is, and he's stealing it late at night. And he's come in along with his friends and climbed on their shoulders, and together they're stealing that butter. And there's such an effulgence coming out of Krishna and his brother Balaram's body that illuminates the space. So even though it's dark and even though things have been hidden, they can find them. And then they would take that butter and they would not only feed their friends, but also feed the monkeys who were there. And of course, they'd eat it themselves, but it was so much fun stealing the butter from your neighbors. Now, keep in mind, his father was the king of that town. They had hundreds of cows. They had tons of butter, but it was so much fun to get it from all the neighbors. And all the neighbors loved him. And while they'd get pissed off and angry, they also delighted in watching his antics. You'll see there there's the gopi who's looking at Krishna. So that's the backdrop. Now to that backdrop, we're going to bring a beautiful song. Right? And the first, it begins like this. This is called DamodaraAshtkam. Ashtakam means it has 8 verses. And this very, very sacred song, in my family, we are singing it every single day. And you'll find renditions of this with beautiful music and instrumentation on YouTube. You'll find lots of them. So just type in DamodaraAshtkam. And so it goes like this. Namam Ishwaram Sachid Anandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam Yashodha bhiyo lukha ladhavamanam param drishtvam todrutya gopya. Now I know it's in Sanskrit and you wouldn't have understood that, but let me explain. So the verse goes like this: to the Supreme Lord, Ishvara, Namam Ishvaram. Then it goes on, Satchit Ananda Rupam, whose form is the embodiment of eternal existence, knowledge, and bliss. These are the three words that are mentioned there: Sat, Chit, and Ananda. Sat means that which is truth, or that which is eternal. The Vedas say that which is eternal is that which is truth, and that which is temporary is that which is false. It means this world is false, and not quite false. Although the Mayavadis would say that, they would say that the world is Brahma Satyam, that Brahman is Satya, the truth, and Jagan Mithya, which means the world is false. And that's actually a false statement, because while the world is illusory, while this is Maya or illusion, it is also very real. So it's both simultaneously. It is illusory and it is very real at the same time. We need to know that there is an art to being able to use the illusory towards the divine, how to use this world in the service of God. And that's the art of bhakti. Bhakti yoga means devotional service, being able to dovetail, to channel all the things of this world, whether it is our body, whether it is our mind, whether it is our wealth, whether it is our knowledge, whatever we've been blessed with, to take that and use it as an offering to God, because it has come from God. You may say, no, it's come from my hard work. Who gave you the strength to be able to do even work? Where does that energy come from? You think you get it from eating food? No. What takes that food and digests it? And what makes that digestion then turn that into energy, and that energy into something that you can use to be able to move and do things? If for a moment even that process stopped, your heart stopped beating, your lungs stopped moving, your digestion stopped happening, you would be either in great pain or dead. What gives the ability? Krishna says, I am the ability in man. He gives the ability. I am seated in everyone's heart. He is with us right now, right here. So it's important to understand that He is Sat Chit Ananda, blissful, eternally blissful. That which is Sat is that which is eternal or true, and that which is the ultimate reality. Chit means it is conscious. He has a form, a rupa, a form which is eternally conscious. He never comes to this world in a material form. Many people think, he comes incarnates in a physical form. No, He doesn't come in a physical form. He comes in His original transcendental form. He comes as a spiritual being and makes Himself visible to us. When we leave this body, our soul leaves the body. That soul is a spiritual being, but there is no way to make it visible to others. We've never seen a soul leave a body, even though we might be present when someone is dying. We cannot, with these eyes, see that soul leaving the person's body. However, when Krishna incarnates, when God incarnates on this earth, He makes Himself visible to us. Okay, so it's really important to understand this. He has a form which is eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. And so then it goes on to say in this song that His shark-shaped earrings are swinging to and fro. So this is a beautiful image it's painting of Krishna as He is running with those earrings, moving to and fro. I said that his form is blissfully shining in the divine realm of Gokul. Now, the shining is not of the earrings. It is His form that gives the earrings their beauty. The earrings become even more beautiful being placed on Him. And that is the incredible thing that happens. Anything that comes in touch with him becomes beautiful. Anything that comes in touch with him becomes sweet. Anything that comes in touch with him becomes transformed. Even the most evil of persons who came to kill him became transformed and got liberation. And then it goes on in this song to say that who, Krishna, due to the offense of breaking the pot of yogurt that his mother was churning into butter, and then stealing the butter that was kept hanging from a swing, is quickly running from the wooden grinding mortar in fear of his mother. It uses the word bhaya, Yashoda bhiya. That is, bhaya comes from fear. So he's got this expression of fear on his face, but who has been caught from behind by her who ran after him with greater speed. To that Supreme Lord Sri Damodar, I offer my humble obeisances. Obeisances are like you say namaste or naman, right? It means to offer respect, to bow down. So in some places you bow down, some people even lie down flat to offer complete respect like that. Right? To offer your obeisances, that's what it means. And this part also is very important because while Yashoda is chasing Krishna, she has a stick in her hand. She wants to beat him. And then she does catch him, tie him up with a rope. You see, he had been, let me go take you back on the story. He'd just woken up and she was giving him milk from her breast. And then she heard the sound of some milk that was boiling, and which was, you know how it can be sometimes, it's boiling and it's going to maybe get bad or spill over. And so she left, put him aside and went to turn off the fire. And Krishna was a baby and he was very upset. It's like, oh, my mommy left me behind here. And then he went off. He went into the room next door. And there was a pot of butter and he broke it. And he took out the butter from there. And his mother caught him in the act and she started running after him with a stick to beat him. And when she caught him, then she wanted to tie him up. Now here she's trying to tie him. And no matter how, the rope is just not big enough. So she goes and gets some more rope. And then she ties it to the original rope and it's still not big enough. And then she ties some more rope to it, thinking that, finally I'll be able to tie him up. And the rope is still not big enough. And no matter how much rope she keeps attaching to it, it's not enough. Finally, she's sweating and she's perspiring and she's, like frustrated and upset. Now you can't even tie him up. And then finally Krishna lets her, because he cannot be bound by anyone. We think sometimes we can bind Krishna or God by the fact that we do something. Maybe we give in charity. Maybe we say nice things to his Messiah, Savior, Messenger, Guru, whatever else. And in that way we can somehow bind him. And yes, there is value to that. But he as such cannot be bound by anything except love. And when he sees the love in his mother's eyes, when he sees that she's doing this with so much of love, then he surrenders and he lets her tie him up. He's rubbing his face, pretending to cry. And there she is tying him up. So the next verse goes like this. Rudantam muhur netra yugmam rijantam karam bhoja yugmena satanka netram muhur shvasakam patri rekhanka kantha Stita Graivam Damodaram Bhakti Badham. Seeing the whipping stick in his mother's hand, he is crying and rubbing his eyes again and again with his two lotus hands. His eyes are filled with fear, and the necklace of pearls around his neck, which is marked with 3 lines like a conch shell, is shaking because of his quick breathing due to crying. To this Supreme Lord Sri Damodar, whose belly is bound not with ropes but by his mother's pure love, I offer my humble obeisances. So, what are we finding here? This description of his eyes filled with fear and the necklace of pearls around his neck shaking because of his quick breathing due to crying. Please understand that Krishna is not afraid of anything. Huge big demons came to kill him when he was a little baby, even when he was just out of his mother's womb, just when he was a little tiny infant. A demon Putana came to kill him. And he ended up killing her with no weapon at all, just sucked her breast as she came to feed him milk and sucked out her life from there. Just sucked out her entire life energy. And others came as well when he was that age. Trinavarta came and picked him up. He was like a whirlwind, tried to pick him up, took him up into the sky like a whirlwind. And Krishna choked him and the poor guy came down crashing. So he had that much power even as a baby. And yet when his mother wanted to spank him with that stick, he surrendered and let her tie him up. Keep this in mind. And yet he's pretending during that time to be filled with fear. He has no fear. But this is such a wonderful opportunity to play and to act and to be human just like we are. Tvadiyeshitagyeshu bhaktairjivtatvam puna prematastam shatabriti vande. By such childhood pastimes as this, he is drowning the inhabitants of Gokul, of his village, in pools of ecstasy. Can you imagine witnessing this? I mean, how beautiful it would be, how ecstatic it would be. And he's revealing to those devotees who are absorbed in knowledge of his supreme majesty and opulence that he is only conquered by devotees whose pure love is imbued with intimacy and is free from all conceptions of awe and reverence. With great love, I again offer my obeisances to Damodar hundreds and hundreds of times. So let's go back on this and see. He's revealing to us, those of us that think of God in his supreme majesty, right? We think of God as great. We think of God as supreme. And we are absorbed in this idea. We are bowing to him because he is supreme, because he is great. Like they say, Christ is king, or they say whatever else, Allahu Akbar. They use all these statements, which means God is great. And it's true, he's great. But you know what a great person wants more than anything? Is for people to love him as he is. A great person wants true love, true intimacy. When you no longer think about his greatness and see him just as you are. Isn't that how you would want to be loved if you were great? If you were the richest, or if you were the most famous, or if you were the most powerful, or if you were the most knowledgeable, would you want to be loved because you're rich, because you're powerful, because you're famous, because of your position, because of your wealth? No. Because of your beauty, because of your physical attributes or whatever else, the things you own? No. You want to be loved for who you are. And that original desire to be loved in that way comes from God. It comes from Krishna, the supreme lover, the supreme adorable, the supreme beloved. So he's revealing to us that the only way that he can be conquered is by someone whose pure love is imbued with intimacy and is free from all conceptions of awe and reverence. Please meditate on that thought. To free yourself from this idea of awe and reverence and come to a place of intimacy with God. Varam deva moksham na moksham vadim va vrine nachanyam vrineham varishadapiha idam teva purnatha gopal balam sada me manasya virastam kimanyai. Oh my dear Lord, although you are able to give all kinds of blessings, all kinds of benedictions, all kinds of boons, I do not pray to you for even the boon of impersonal liberation. What is impersonal liberation? It means where you merge into the light, where you become one with God. I don't want that. I don't want that. Nor do I want the highest liberation of eternal life in Vaikuntha, in the spiritual world. Nor do I want to be in heaven, nor do I want to be in the spiritual world. Nor any other boon which you may give me, which can be obtained by executing even devotion to you. Oh Lord, I simply wish that this form of yours as baby Krishna, Bal Gopal, in Vrindavan, may ever be manifest in my heart. For what is the use of any other boon besides this? What do you think is being said here? How powerful is this thought? That I only want to remember you. I want to see this vision of you as a child in my heart. I want to see this vision of you and your mother and your loved ones in my heart. May ever be manifest in my heart. For what is the use to me of any other boon besides this? Think about this. All other things are selfish. All other things, whether you want, because there's said to be many different kinds of liberation. Sayujya Mukti is where you become one with the light, one with God. Sarupya is where you have the same form as God. Samipya is where you are close to God. These are all different forms of liberation. Liberation from the world and many other things attached to that. But the pure devotee wants none of this. He says, I only want to think of you. Krishna says in the Gita, Man mana bhava mad bhakto, always think of me. Madhyaji mam namaskuru, and always offer your respects and obeisances to me. Why is this important? Because this meditation on God, on His form, on His beauty, on His pastimes, His lila, when that comes into our heart, it overtakes all material desire. There is so much sweetness in this that we don't care anything about the world now. When this comes into our consciousness, it makes us indifferent to the world. So we started off talking about desire. And the only way to give up desire is to have something which truly fulfills our desire. The world never fulfills our desire. The more we get of the world, the more we want of the world. And the more empty we feel inside. You may have everything, but trust me, you will feel empty inside. That's why people need to drink. That's why people need to have alcohol. That's why people need to go on vacations. That's why they do all that they do. The entire economy of the world is set up on you being unfulfilled and chasing for more and more and more. And that never happens. But when you finally get something which truly satisfies you, which truly touches your heart, which truly awakens your soul, from that point on, you want nothing else. When you have tasted the real thing, then the false, the imitation, falls away. So the desire for the world automatically fades away. It's a gradual process because right now our hearts are full of desire. So there is a process called anartha nivriti. The anarthas, the impurities within our heart that need to become cleansed. And they become cleansed by hearing about these things, by chanting these things, speaking about them, chanting his name, hearing his pastimes. All of that, as we come in touch, just like you take a metal rod and you put it in, the fireplace and it gets in touch with fire. When that rod, it may be cool earlier, but when you put it in fire, it becomes hot like fire. In the same way, when we associate with Krishna, with his devotees, with his pastimes, with his name, then that association spiritualizes us, transforms us from within. And as we get transformed, the impurities within our heart start to get cleansed. It's a difficult process. It's not easy because we've got thousands of lifetimes of desiring and wanting the things of the world. We still haven't learned, but those who have learned, those who have understood, they're ready. They're like, all right, give me more, give me more, give me more. They're hungry, they're thirsty, they want to dive deep. And when you dive deep, this is the result. These pastimes now not only become something you're hearing about in a video like this or in a reading from a book or from a person, but they become embedded within your heart. And now you can't think of anything else. Does that mean you got brainwashed? Yeah. Your brain got washed clean of all the nonsense and impurities. Absolutely. Would you rather it be dirtied again? Sure, go right ahead. The world is full of that. Why is that dirty? Because it never fulfilled you in the first place. The only way you get fulfillment, as great saints and saintly people have been saying through the ages, is through this process. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam. By hearing about God, by speaking about God, and by remembering God. Vishnu Smaranam. So when you remember, then that vision becomes manifest in your heart. And he says, what use to me, what is the use to me of any other boon besides this? You can give me anything I desire, and yet I want nothing from you other than this, other than you. I want nothing from you other than you. That's love. That's true love. Idam Deva Purnatha Gopal Balam Sada Me Manasya Virastam Kimanyai. Lord, your lotus face, which is encircled by locks of soft black hair tinged with red, is kissed again and again by Mother Yashoda. And your lips are reddish, like the bimba fruit. May this beautiful vision of your lotus face be ever manifest in my heart. Thousands and thousands of other benedictions are of no use to me. See the vision of your face, which is encircled by locks of soft black hair tinged with red, is kissed again and again by Mother Yashoda, his mother. And your lips are reddish like this bimba fruit, which is a reddish color. May this beautiful vision of your lotus face be ever manifest in my heart. Thousands and thousands of other blessings and benedictions are of no use to me. Namo Deva Damodar Ananta Vishnu Prasida Prabhu Dukha Jalabdhi Magnam Kripa Drishti Vrishtyati Dinam Batano grihani shamamagyam edakshidrishyai. O Supreme Godhead, I offer my obeisances unto you, O Damodar, O Ananta. Ananta means unlimited. O Vishnu, O Master, O my Lord, be pleased upon me by showering your glance of mercy upon me. Deliver this poor ignorant fool who is immersed in an ocean of worldly sorrows and become visible to my eyes. So this is the devotee's prayer, that I may see you, that I may have darshan, that I may behold you with these eyes, because that is possible right here in this world by his blessings. It is not going to happen by your wanting, but if you want it immensely, if you desire it immensely, if that becomes your desire, that by your mercy, please deliver this poor ignorant fool. Not deliver as in salvation, as send me to heaven and get me free of this messy, mucky world. No, no, no. Deliverance according to the devotee is, look, I'm immersed in an ocean of worldly sorrows, and the only medicine, the only cure, the only salvation for me is that you become visible to my eyes. You see, when you have had that darshan, you have had that vision of God, and many have, many have. I've come across many of them in Vrindavan, Krishna's birthplace. They live there because they don't want to leave there. Because there, wherever they go, they see him, even till today. With these eyes, they see him. If they, when they say that to me, I don't know what to make of that. I can't see. I am this, what he describes here, this poor, ignorant fool. That's me. That's all of us, right? And only by his glance of mercy upon us may we have that opportunity to see him. But you know what is the result of seeing him? I don't think anyone should lightly want this, because once you have seen him, you will want to see nothing else. You will no longer be interested in seeing the things of this world. Whether that's the most beautiful man or woman, whether it's Netflix or whether it's the greatest movie or it's the greatest whatever, right? The views, the wonderful places, none of that is going to appeal to you anymore. When you have had that vision of God, the supreme beauty of all, there is nothing left to be seen. There is nothing more. You have reached to the ultimate destination. You have reached the topmost mountain. There is no higher mountain to be climbed. And that is, how does that happen? By your glance of mercy upon me. By his mercy. How do you get his mercy? That's where we're coming to the most important verse here. And that is, we're coming to the part which is about Radha. And you'll get to know how we get Krishna's mercy. How do we get God's mercy? She is the embodiment of that mercy. But before we get there, let's understand a little bit more about the pastime of Damodar. Kuveratmajau badha murtvaiva yadvat Tvaya mochito bhakti bhajo krito cha Tatha prema bhaktim swakammi prayacha Namokshe graho mesti damodareha. O Lord Damodar, O baby Krishna, just as the two sons of Kuver, Manigriva and Nala Kuver, were freed from the curse of Narad and made into great devotees by you in your form as a baby tied to a wooden grinding mortar. In the same way, please give me your own prema bhakti, your divine love. I only long for this and have no desire for any kind of liberation. So you'll see here that there were these two very beautiful young men, and they were living in what are known as the heavenly planets. So these are planets that are, or you can call them alien beings, planets where there is immense amount of beauty and immense amount of pleasure. That's what's referred to as the heavenly planets. We're in the middle. We're in the middle. Earth is in the middle, where there's an equal amount of pleasure and suffering. But in the heavenly planets, it's all about pleasure. And when you have good karma, that's where you go. People who have bad karma, they go to what are called the hellish planets, but that's not hell. Hellish planets simply means that things are more hellish out there. Like there's countries and places on this earth that are more hellish. There are places on this earth that are more heavenly and more beautiful. Perfect weather, perfect everything, environment, wonderful place, wonderful people. Well, that's kind of the heavenly planets. All right. So these two young boys, they were the sons of Kuver. Kuver is known to be the treasure of the devas, of the demigods. And these two boys, Manigriva and Nalakuvara, I know the names are all in Sanskrit, and this all might sound difficult to you, but hey, we're talking about a different time, a different era, so please bear with me, but get the essence of it. Manigriva and Nalakuvara, they had been cursed by Narad, the great sage, because even though Narad was walking by, they had continued being in the river with women and naked, and they did not respect the saint as he was walking by. And what they needed to have done, when you see a saintly person walking by, a renounced person, someone who is detached from the world, is to cover yourself up. There is a certain sense of decorum. There's a certain sense of dignity, shyness, whatever else you want to say. He and these boys and their girlfriends continued to be naked and enjoy, even though Narad was walking by. So the sage Narad said, you do not know how to behave. You do not know culture. You do not have values. You have become obsessed with wealth and with sensual pleasure. I therefore curse you to become trees. Then you can be naked all you like. Right? Trees are naked. They have no clothes on as such. So you can be naked all you like. And then they begged of him, we're so sorry. Oh my God, we didn't realize. We were just so intoxicated and we were just so caught up in our, pleasure, fun that we were having with the girls. And please, 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 undo the curse. Narad said, I can't undo a curse. When a curse is given, it's given, especially by, when a saintly person, a sage, gives a curse, there's no taking it back. He said, what I can do is you can become trees in the yard of Krishna. He is going to be appearing on earth. You will be there for quite some period of time, and he will then liberate you. So this is what happened. When Krishna was tied up by his mother, he dragged the mortar. He's a pretty big mortar, and he's a little tiny baby, and he's crawling, right? And he's dragging that mortar, tied as he is to it. And it gets stuck between these two trees. And then he pulls and tugs, and the trees fall down. Now, a little baby has no strength to knock down two trees, right? I had to get someone to knock down, even a branch of a tree, and they needed, a chainsaw and all kinds of stuff. Here, Krishna, a little baby, knocks down two big trees just with that wooden grinding mortar being stuck between the two of them. So you'll see it in the picture again. Take a closer look now. Grinding mortar's there. The trees have fallen down. And right, so just as they were delivered from the curse of Narad and made into great devotees by you in the form of a baby tied with a rope to a wooden grinding mortar, in the same way, please give me your own prema bhakti. Prema bhakti means pure, unadulterated, unalloyed love for you. Please give me your own, because the only one who can give you divine love is the divine, is God himself. We ourselves are not capable of that. Our mind, our ego, and the world are too strong. The illusions of this world are too strong. We are not capable of this. It is almost impossible for us to develop that pure love. People talk about unconditional love. Oh yeah, right. Unconditional means you have no conditions. I will love you no matter what. It's a wonderful thing to say, but try doing it. and that person talks badly to you, that person treats you badly, that person does things you do not like, your unconditional love is out the door. You're not going to love them unconditionally anymore, whether that be a parent to their child, whether that is, whether it is to your parent, whether it's to your friend, or whether it's to your lover, or it's to your beloved, it's to the one you think is the greatest of all. He says, I only long for this divine love, this prema bhakti, and have no desire for any kind of liberation. Namaste studhamne spuratipti dhamne tvadiyo darayatha vishwasya dhamne Namo radhikayai tvadiya priyayai Namo nantalilaya devaya tubhyam. O Damodar, I first of all offer my humble obeisances to the brightly effulgent rope which binds your belly. Because that rope, no one can bind him. Yet he was bound by the rope of love. That's the only thing that could bind him. I then offer my obeisances to your belly, which is the abode of the entire universe. I humbly bow down to your most beloved Srimati Radharani. Radha, as I said to you earlier, is the divine or God in feminine form. She is the feminine aspect of Krishna and he is the masculine aspect of Radha. He says, and I offer my humble obeisances to Radha. And their love is considered the supreme love. They are the original soulmates, the original twin flames, the original divine lovers. And it is because of their love that we seek love in this world. There is no greater love and no greater love story than theirs. This is Krishna putting flowers in her hair, tying her braids. This is them dancing together in the Rasa Leela. And Radha sitting on her throne. Krishna and Radha on a swing. So their love is the most amazing love story of all. And she is the embodiment of love. She is the one who is full of mercy, full of compassion, full of kindness. It is only through her that we can get to him. And it is only through him that we can get to her. When he is merciful upon us, when he sees that we are sincere, then only he allows us to enter into her chamber. We cannot get there otherwise. And for her, she is the one who teaches us how to love him. She is the one who teaches us how to serve him. She is the one who is the ultimate guru. She is the supreme teacher, the supreme guru, the supreme personality. And it is through her that we learn the art of divine love. And the next part of this, the last line says, I offer my obeisances to the Supreme Lord who displays unlimited pastimes. You see, the pastimes that you are reading about in the Srimad Bhagavatam, that you are hearing about, if you're watching it through the videos, these are the pastimes that were exhibited on this earth. But these pastimes are ananta. They are eternal. They go on. When Krishna leaves this world, he goes to another world, then to another world, to another world. His drama troupe is traveling everywhere, attracting people back to home, back to Godhead. And it is that he comes to show us. This is what it's like to be with God. It's not about forcing anyone. It's not about, putting a gun to your head or a sword to your throat and saying, you better, submit or surrender, and otherwise we're going to kill you. And many people have been converted like that. Millions of people all over the world were converted by that kind of barbaric action. Krishna is not like that. God is not like that. He does not want any of that. What use is that? What value is that? One has to come because you want him, you desire him, you've tried the world, you know what the world has to offer, and you know it doesn't have anything of value to offer. And it is with that you've come to him. And now you're seeking out that eternal love. So if this is something that interests you, please ask questions. Please seek further. Your journey would begin with reading the Bhagavad Gita. And then I have got the entire Srimad Bhagavatam starting from the first canto to we are now in the 10th canto. You'll watch that systematically. And in the course of time, you will learn the ways of divine love. This is an incredible journey. I've been on it now for over 45 years and perhaps many lifetimes, I don't know. But all I can tell you is it is supremely satisfying. It is supremely enjoyable and supremely ecstatic because it uplifts the heart. It purifies the heart. It uplifts the mind, and it fills us with the kind of joy that nothing of this world can give us. I've had people say, what? Well, what if you came across something? Someone gave you millions of dollars. Would you give this up? I said, no, not even if they gave me billions of dollars. Even billions and trillions of dollars I could not give this up for that. Sure, you want to give it to me for, without giving up any of this? No problem. I know what to do with it and how to be able to use it in his service. But without that, without him, my life is nothing. Without him, there is no juice in life. There is no joy. There is no nectar. There is no sweetness. There is no nothing. It's not about giving up desire. The desire is for him. It's not about giving up love. It's loving him. Even if you don't have anyone in your life, you have God. Even if you don't have anyone who cares for you, who respects you, who values you, who understands you, you have God. And you say, well, where is God? I don't see him. To start with, he's in your heart. To start with, he's with you at every moment. Trust that. Just act from that place and you'll see he'll be guiding you. He'll be with you. Talk to him. You're mad. Be mad at him. It's okay. You don't need formality. Cultivate intimacy. In intimacy, you can talk about anything. Share your pain. Share your grief. Share your sorrow. Share your joy. Share everything. But more than anything, don't try to ask him to fix your life or solve your problems. This is your karma playing out. It's okay. You just focus on how can I surrender to you? How can I love you? And everything else will fall into place. Make that your desire. And then from that desire will come everything that you need. Everything. I promise you this. Krishna promises it to you in the Bhagavad Gita. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam praja. Surrender all your duties, all your fears, all your responsibilities, all your worries unto me. Surrender them to me. Surrender means to let go. You're holding a heavy weight. Let go. Put that weight down. Give it to me. Mam ekam, just to me alone. Don't try to struggle with this world. Stop struggling. Stop fighting. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo. I will free you from all. Papa means all bad karma, all the bad karma that is causing you to suffer in this world. And give you moksha, liberation. He is giving you liberation and giving the devotee liberation, but the devotee is saying, I don't want any liberation, I want you. I don't just want freedom from suffering, I want you. I don't just want some comfortable situation, some easy life. No, I want you. You can't seduce me with anything. You can't buy me off with anything. You can't give me anything that will make me give up on you. That's love. And if you want to have that quality of love, then this is the path. But if you want to enjoy the world is there for you. You've been trying for many lifetimes. You haven't succeeded. That's why you're still trying to find love, trying to find happiness, trying to get fulfillment, trying to get your needs met, your desires met. But it isn't happening. So perhaps you want to reconsider. Perhaps you want to try something better, bigger, something greater, and see where that leads you. All right, with that, if there's any questions at all, I'll take them. But if not, I hope you'll write your questions in the comments. I hope you like and subscribe to the video or whatever. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. It's a great honor to be able to serve. Hare Krishna. I'll see you next week. Tuesday, the same time. We're now going a little bit earlier, an hour earlier. So I'll be here at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Well, it's going to be daylight saving time. So in other countries, you better watch out. 6 p.m. Pacific time. And that's 9 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesdays. That'll be Wednesdays. And I'm not sure what time that'll be in India and other places. So I'll look that up and let you know next time. It used to be 8:30, but then I think it goes an hour back. So most likely 7:30. But I'll confirm next time. Okay. Hare Krishna.